Hey guys, welcome back to this channel, and I want to talk a little bit about the trip that Vice President of the United States went to South America and Central America, and they were thinking about like Venezuela as a threat to United States. But I think if we think about threats to the United States in different ways. I think the most dangerous, the most threatened country in Earth, I think, is the government of the United States. The nuclear arms that they have, and just like Russia, India, and North Korea, they have all this nuclear weapon. I think it's a threat to any humankind, and at this time. And the other thing too, the industries, I think, is a threat to human life in the future because it's the global warming, which is nobody's paying attention to it because just they just want to live by the days. As soon as they wake up, they want to go and have fun, and they die tomorrow or they die after 20 years, and it's it. Just like the rich people, they don't care about uh, the global warming. They just want to live, just live the jets, house, money, and they're not thinking about the future. But I think Al Gore, one of the best vice president in the United States, I think he's been really thinking about the future, just like Bernie Sanders, which is political view. I think is good for the our society, how to treat different issues. So, but these issues that I'm talking about is Venezuela, and because Mike Pence, he went to those countries and telling these countries that the Venezuela is a threat to the human, threat to the Western Hemisphere, threat to the United States. But if we think about it, I think it makes sense. It's a threat. Why? Because so many like president, they call it leftist, like all this Nicolas Maduro. He didn't went to the best universities, just like Yale or Harvard, like where all those president of this continent, they graduate in those high profile universities. So that's why they want to keep the power. But if someone like Nicolas Maduro, Evo Morales, that they went to university or that they even go to the university, but they learn to become a president. So it's a threat to you. The United States sees it as a threat because all the products that we consume in the United States, I think it comes from the Central and South America and Mexico. So when the people trying to start fighting for their right, and economically, I think United States sees this as a threat to United States because they don't want to pay the right wages for those hard-working farmers in the rest of the Americas or China or India. So I think that's the threat that the vice president he was presenting to those oligarchies governments in South America. But I think if we see what threat that we present in this planet, I think the most dangerous threat that our planet is facing now is the human, about the technologies, about the space, about those petroleums, about making cars, making phones. When making clothing, we never ask how they make it. So, but there is a threat, like it's really threatening the humans, which is the nuclear weapons. But now it's under control because there is then no earthquakes. Like one day, I always think one day, the nature with there's all these movements going on in Central in Mexico and South America and Asia about those earthquakes. I think one day they're gonna happen where those nuclear weapons is now, which is safe now. But if an earthquake is gonna occur in a specific area where those weapons are now, I think it's gonna be a threat to the life, a threat to our society, a threat to the humans, just like all this uh, drilling petroleums on the oceans, Atlantic and Pacific. I think one day they're gonna explore into the sea, and it's gonna make a threat to our life, to our those creatures in the sea. So I think if we see ask a threat, which threats that makes us facing, I think it's all is a threat. It's just like an alcoholic or a drive drunker driving. I think it's a threat to the street. It's a threat to other peoples. So I think Venezuela is not a threat to U.S. citizens. It's not a threat to the world. I think Venezuelan government and Cuban government represents the dignity of the hard-working people in a farm, the dignity of fighting a better life for everybody, not just like for the rich, just like those tax cut like President Trump did last week. I think it doesn't make any sense. There's always a gap between hard-working middle class and the richest people. There's always a gap. So that's why we bring these ideas of what threats represents to a human. I think if we see threats to our democracy, threats to our systemic life, and a U.S. citizen, I think Donald Trump is a threat to the world about going to recognizing Israel as a capital of Jerusalem as a capital of Israel. I think it's a threat to the human, because all around the world that makes all the citizens a threat to the other countries. So I think I just want to thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you are not a threat to your community, and I hope you are not a threat to our society and all those technologies, and all those all like being going on about those social media. I think it's going to be a threat to our health. I hope in the future, because I think it's all this threat like going on to the kids now, like they spend more times in all these cyber things and not going to doing something else. I think it's a threat to our health. So, but there's focus and the threat that the vice president he was talking about these countries. I think we have to think about it. Who is really threatening our planet?